Somebody get me out this cell. I'm so trapped inside myself. When I see me through my own eyes, sugar uglier than hell.
Hey, you know what it is. Hey, it's the What Up Doe, the What Up Doe, the What Up Doe show. Yo, what up, Doe? It's your boy OG Tim Wilson, and I am in the building. And I'm happy to say that this is going to be an awesome show. We got a new segment we're introducing. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it a segment or I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. It's gonna take some time to figure it out, but yo, we all up in the building. Everybody's here. I got my boys Big Ed Wayz in the house, so we are ready to get this party started. I want to say happy birthday to all your birthday people out there. Happy birthday to all of y'all. Mm-hmm. And with no further ado, man, let's go ahead and get this party started. Yo, Big Ed, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, not much, just chilling. Man, I seem to notice that there's a theme going on with the show tonight.
What you mean?
All three of us done got a head shave.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. So, yeah, we the three ball heads tonight.
Hold on. Let me chime in on this. First of all, I ain't shaved my motherfucking head. I'm just balding. I haven't shaved in weeks.
But this was not planned, though, for all three of us to be bald. So we did not get together and say, let's everybody be bald this week.
Yeah, that was the act of God. So, Wayz, what's happening, man? Wayz is in the building, too. What's happening with you?
Man, not much. I got my two older boys here this weekend, so I've been chilling and kicking it with them, playing some Call of Duty, and just having a good time with them.
Wait, which Call of Duty, bro?
Mobile, because I'm broke. Oh, I ain't want no external hard drive. And fuck Warzone.
That's
well, no, I got Vanguard, so.
Okay. We're not about to turn this into the fucking video game. So look, but it's funny when you said that. It reminded me of an old story my mom used to tell me when she was livid, pissed off at my brother, my oldest brother's dad, the one that always sneak in with his shot glass every now and then. When he was young, him and his boys, they was gonna start a singing group, and they cut off. He came home with all his hair cut off. She like, what the fuck is going on? They cut all his hair off. Talking about we starting a group called the Seven Ball Heads, and I never forget that. I would never forget that. I thought it was the funniest shit ever. And she laughed about it, of course, at the time. She was telling me, but at that time, she was livid. She was mad as hell at that boy. Coming home with his head shaved off. We the Seven Ball Heads. I'm gonna have to hit that with him when I say it. But yeah, I had an event last night for Cadillac, an award ceremony for Cadillac for 2021. They do it every year. This year I didn't win shit. Last year I did. This year I didn't. But it's okay, man. I missed 5 months, so. There's a whole new ball game coming right now. So I plan on getting in this year. I plan on getting up on that stage and picking up my next one. It's too big. That's why I ain't got it over there. I ain't about to mess with it. Fuck that. But anyway, it was very nice though. And I cut all my hair. I've got all cleaned up, and I was sharp as a tack. Y'all should have saw me, nigga. I was sharp as a motherfucker. I took one picture the whole night, and Loel got it, so I'm gonna have him send it to me, so I can post it because I was cold blooded. I was clean as motherfucker.
Clean as a whistle, as the old men say.
Clean as a motherfucking whistle, baby. Had a great time though, man. Saw all my old people from my old dealership and a couple of guys that I hadn't seen in a long time. So I had a good time, man. It was fun.
That's good.
That said, let's get this party started so I can talk about what we going our new shit that we got doing. What we doing tonight? Boom shakalaka.
Cheers, fellas.
Yeah.
Cheers. I want to say big up to Big Ed. He sound better this week.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm doing a little bit better.
Yeah, he still smell bad, but he looks better.
He said, "I ain't sick no more. I'm getting my head shaved. Fuck this."
He was like, "No, I heard the corona be sticking in your hair, so cut that up." Cut that up. So last show we did last week, we were talking about the Kumo D report card for the hip hop artists of the 90s, the solo rappers of the 90s, and it was fun. And we discussed a little bit about incorporating that, doing something similar. So I thought long and hard about it because I didn't want it to turn into the Wayz verse. Right? I didn't want to turn my show into the Wayz verse. So I'm not trying to find the greatest rapper or the greatest rap group or anything like that. I just picked up, and I don't want to take a long section like we did last week to do his. But I did utilize his spreadsheet. And I just randomly picked the first 10 rap groups that came to my mind. And I sent that to you guys so that you could score them. I scored them as well. And we'll just have fun with that and see where it goes. And what we do with this from here, I have no idea. I don't know, but I just think it's going to be fun to do. And I'm going to keep up with it. So we're not going to go through the whole list of all the categories, but I will read them all for you right now. So we are judging these groups by the following categories. On a scale of 1 to 10, vocabulary, articulation, creativity, originality, versatility, voice, records, stage presence, sticking to themes, and innovating rhythms. And it will come up to a final score of somewhere between 0 and 100. And that's where that creates a semblance of a letter grade if you want to do that, which he did. He used it as a letter grade. I'm not necessarily going to do that. We'll just go by their score. I can say that I have one group that came out on top, standalone, and I'm not going to say what group that is. I did it twice because my first time around I was extremely hard on it. And my second time around, I had lightened up a little bit. I wasn't as grumpy and was a little red. I went and took a power nap and I went through it again, and it was a little looser. And some of the scores went up a little. Some stayed the same. Some went down. So, but for the most part, I feel like my list is accurate to right now. It's where it's going to be. And I'll start with the first group that comes to mind is my favorite group of all times, and unfortunately, they are not the group that got the highest score for me, and that is Run DMC. And the group, by the way, is defined as 2 or more members, and the 2 members have to rap. So Eric B and Rakim is not a group to me.
Right.
So Run DMC, I gave a 90. I had originally given them an 83, believe it or not. I had originally given them an 83. But when I revisited, I did find myself looking at some things differently than I did earlier, saying, okay, but if I look at it this way, then it's that. And if I look at this way, and what was I thinking when I said that? I was fucking pissed or something. But they did lose some points for me in the category of versatility. I find a lot of the old school artists, they lose points in vocabulary because they didn't really use it. It's not that they didn't have it; they didn't really use a large vocabulary. I found, in my opinion, but they also score high in originality because they were the first to do it. Most of them were the first to do whatever they were doing, you know. That's how I came about a 90 there. Wayz, what did you grade Run DMC? What was their ending number?
A 92.
Oh, okay. The Wayz gave him a 92.
The only area that really, the lowest score I gave him was an 8. And pretty much everything were 9s and 10s.
Okay. That's pretty strong. I think the lowest score I gave him was 6, but I ain't gonna go there. Big Ed, what did you give Run DMC?
I think I'm actually missing one category for some reason. But I have them right now scored at 83.
What are the categories you have?
I have vocabulary, articulation, creativity, originality, versatility, records, stage presence.
You're missing voice.
Yep, you're missing voice.
Okay. I don't know why that one's missing.
I don't either, but Big Ed, you got to understand he is Big Ed. So there's always going to be something. So yeah, voice, you're missing voice in there. So voice should be in there.
So take your final score and add however much you would give them.
Exactly.
I would have them scored at a 90.
Okay, so we're gonna give them a 90 there for and I will give all the averages at the end and tell you who won. So I'm gonna go on to the second one. I'm gonna do one more. Then we're gonna pop on to some stories and get back to this list. There is 10, so we're just gonna do one more real quick. The Wu-Tang Clan. Believe it or not, they were not my highest score, but they were. I did give them. I guess I'm still, even though I went back, I'm still pretty harsh because some categories to me, I just the way I interpret the category, I guess. But I gave them a 93. I didn't really give them anything low. They were 8, 9, and 10 all across the board. The lowest I gave them was an 8 in a couple of categories, but other than that, it was 9s and 10s. So they got a 93 from me. What you give? What about you, Wayz?
All right, so I'm gonna give a disclaimer. This is my favorite rap group of all time.
Mm-hmm. Run DMC is mine, so I'm not biased. I was fair.
Exactly, and that's how I am with this. I gave them an 83.
Yikes!
What really killed them for me was stage presence, where I gave them a 5.
Okay. Wow, that's very. And you know what? I've while I originally gave them a lower score for stage presence, I've raised it probably unfairly, but I bumped it because of the Method Man Redman verses. When I saw that, I love that. So Big Ed, what did you give Wu-Tang?
I would actually have them at like an 89.
89. He's got to do math in his head because he fucked up the spreadsheet. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But it's what Big Ed does.
I'd score him a lot higher. I'd score him at a 9 for stage presence.
Okay.
Because, it's like 13 members of Wu-Tang. And you got most of them on stage at the same time.
Yeah. Which is why they lost a little bit on voice for me. Because I like some voices better than others. The same with articulation. Some I understand I like better than others. If I was just Method Man by himself, I think he's got a 10 on voice, but then you throw in some of the other guys and they drop me down. Articulation, of course, ODB gonna drop you down a little bit. But overall, I still, again, when I say I bumped them down to an 8. So it's not like I knocked them off the chart.
I guess I graded my voice a little different. I went based off of the uniqueness of their voice.
Okay.
And that's how I scored my voice.
Yeah, I always if I like their voice or not. That's how I've. How do I think their voice sounds on the song? And it's okay how you interpret the category is totally and completely up to you. It's uniquely you, and that's why we get unique scores, right?
Right.
So that said, let's pop on to a story here. Why not hit it right off the bat, man? And I'm gonna turn to Wayz for this one, real quick. Your thoughts on where we've gone with this NFL case?
Oh man, there's too much coming out now, where it's starting to show that one, primarily Brian Flores, is not really full of shit. When you've got so many black coaches coming out saying, well, yeah, I took an incentive. I took a little incentive to make sure we didn't do so well. Who's it? Hugh Jackson Jackson. When he came out, I was like, all right, first of all, I know for a fact Hugh Jackson ain't full of bullshit. If you want to get an honest African American coach, that's who you look for. Yeah, he may not have been the greatest, but now I don't know if I really believe that if he was good or not because he took an incentive to be bad.
Which is interesting for more than one reason. I mean, it's like as bad as it is to tank and intentionally tank. It's really bad to say, okay, we hired a black coach, paid him to lose, and then fired him for losing. Fired him for having a bad record. I mean, and then so when we're ready to tank, we'll hire a black coach because we can ruin his fucking reputation and say that's why we don't hire black coaches. Mm-hmm. And then when you get Brian Flores, who said he pushed back and said, I don't lose fucking games. That's not how I coach. Well, now he's got a bad attitude and he doesn't get along with the front office. And that's why we fired him. So it's a catch-22. Mm-hmm. I have an excuse to put a slander on the black coach either way. And it's really tricky there. Although I didn't read the story, but I saw a headline and I'm not even 100% confident in the source, to be honest, but it said that Hugh Jackson was kind of stepping back away from that statement.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure. But there's somebody else out there that stood up and said, "No, you step up. I got proof." Big Ed, your thoughts?
Hugh Jackman did kind of step back away from that.
It's not Jackman, it's Jackson.
That's what I said, Jackson. That's what I meant, Jackson.
That's why I struggled. I kept wanting to call him Jackman.
Man, it's I don't know. Everybody always thinks that their team is tanking for something anyways. Not to give it no excuse that it happens more often with black coaches than it does with anybody else. But Philadelphia has been tanking for years. The 76ers?
They did the process, so they did tank. We remember that, but they haven't been tanking for years, but they did it. They did do it. But they haven't been tanking recently. The process, they were, that was the process. But they wasn't taking last year. They went to the finals. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. So yeah, they haven't been taking for years, but they did do that. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't, but not recently.
When Tua was getting ready to come into the league, what was the biggest thing that was out there?
Yeah, but that's the crowd. That's the crowd. Yes, fans are all on board. Tank for Tua, and that's the audience, though. This is people that's in charge. These are owners and GMs and management. This is front office saying we will pay you $100,000 for every game you lose.
That stuff don't come from nowhere.
I'm giving you incentive to lose games. Yeah, it does when it comes to fans. Fans, what we need a quarterback. So let's tank and get Tua. Just tank for Tua. But you're not supposed to listen to that kind of bullshit.
Well, obviously their front office did.
I don't know if they did or not. I'm not going to blame the fans for it. I think you're taking a wrong approach here. You can't confuse what the fans did with anything that has to do with this case. The fans are not being sued.
Right. Because
the fans are not responsible for this team on the field. They're not. And whether they say tank or not, if you tank, the fans will turn. You got to look like you're trying to win. You play to win the game.
Yeah.
And that's how you have to be in the spirit of competition. If you're representing the Shield, the fans are not representing the Shield. Mm-hmm. But your team is your front office and your your organization is representing the Shield, and you can't do that.
No.
You can't incentivize coaches to lose.
Even Ross needs to go.
Oh yeah, they need to lose that. If this was encouraged, you could lose a franchise over this, man.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion,
you have to lose a franchise over this.
And here's the thing with this. Now is the perfect timing for what we believe has been the right thing to actually do about these situations.
A black owner.
It's time to get a black owner down in Miami.
You know what? Denver is for sale. If this comes out, if they're able to substantiate this claim, then Miami should be for sale and Cleveland.
Yep.
I mean, if this turns out, if this shows to be true, these are serious accusations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Jim Brown, you still want to own the Cleveland Browns?
Right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's serious. That's some serious accusation, in my opinion, man. Yeah. I just think that it shouldn't be taken lightly, especially coming from different sources. So look, there's other parts to this though. There's Bryant has come out and said that what did Dad say? That he said he witnessed
that Dak intentionally didn't throw the ball to him, so they didn't win a game.
So they wouldn't win. That he witnessed tanking.
Yep. In Dallas.
I can see that.
He also said, Brian Flores said that he went to an interview and John Elway and them showed up late, hungover.
Yeah.
Well, he said he actually we say drunk, but he said they were hungover. Basically, they were obviously drinking
the night before.
Yeah, and so they came in hungover. Wasn't really into it. So basically, that implies that either they were celebrating that we found our coach, or they just didn't take this interview serious for whatever reason.
Right.
And there's a lot out there, but this was funny to me. This was interesting to me. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I'm gonna show this to you. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. The Lions tried to get ahead of this. And on their Facebook page, they changed their profile picture to this.
Oh, wow.
This was not only the profile picture, but also the cover on their Facebook page. I guess they on one hand said it was to commemorate Black History Month, but the timing was interesting because of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, they became part of the story. The day after that came out, that day after that change, they became part of the story. Where Terrell Austin, said he had a token interview with the Lions when they had already decided they were going to hire Matt Patricia. They already had Matt Patricia, and they used him for a token interview so that they could not get sued for the Rooney Rule. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but they've been sued for it before. Or fined, rather. Not sued, but fined. They were fined $250,000 when they hired Mariucci because Matt Millen was in charge at the time, and he announced ahead of time that Mariucci was his guy. He was going after Mariucci. He fired his coach so that he could go get Mariucci. But now I gotta interview a black guy, satisfy the Rooney Rule.
Yeah.
And none of them would give him an interview because they already knew the game. Denny Green, most notably, because he was the only one that spoke out publicly and said it publicly. The Lions tried to call me in for an interview they know I didn't have a realistic chance for the job. So ain't you hiring Mariucci? You already announced it publicly that you bringing in Mariucci. I'm not going down there for your token interview just so you can pass.
Mm-hmm.
and they got fined $250,000 because they couldn't find a nigga to come down there and dance for
Damn.
Mm,
them.
mm,
And
mm.
so yeah, they're not off the hook just yet, but their name came up, but yeah, they getting ahead of like, look, man, we're down with the cause. We're red, black, green, and gold.
Yeah. They said we stand for Black Power.
Oh wow.
Hey man.
Niggas got lions in their house, right?
Yeah.
Niggas love lions.
Niggas love lions, man. And let's knock out a couple more groups, man. Okay, I got EPMD on the list next. EPMD is on the list next. I gave EPMD, y'all gonna be mad at me. I gave EPMD an 81.
Oh, I ain't mad at you.
I just I've never seen them live perform, but I have seen them perform on TV, and I wasn't impressed. So they lost points there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Eric Sermon was the first mumble rapper, so I gave them some points off for articulation. And like I said, all the old schools got a little kick in the nuts for vocabulary, because back in the old school, vocabulary wasn't a huge deal. I think the only guy from the old school that gets it is LL Cool J, is the only one that used his vocabulary a lot more than everybody else, and that was one of the reasons he
Rakim.
Yeah, Rakim as well. You are correct. So, but as far as the old school groups, a lot of them didn't use a lot of vocabulary because they didn't take that back then. So they all got a little bit of a bump down for me on that. But Wayz, what's your score on EPMD?
75.
Hey,
I was a little more critical. I've respected EPMD. You know what I mean? Their music to me has always been iffy. Records and stage presence is the main things that killed them for me.
Yeah, records did not kill them for me because there's a generation gap here that we've established earlier beforehand, and so for him, he's not really versed with the all the EPMD songs that were banging back then, because he wasn't back then. So, and that's understandable. Again, that is his scorecard, and it is what it is. It's fair enough. And I knew that when I was putting these groups down. I was saying this. I was saying it to myself. I'm going to be grading them differently than them because I know them.
Well, you got 3 whole decades or generations of different perspectives of hip hop.
Exactly, and I have a different. We all have a different relationship with these eras. Big Ed, how did you score EPMD?
Actually, kind of similarly to Joe. I got him at a 76.
Add your voice. Did you add your voice?
Yep.
Okay, 76.
Yep.
76 for Big Ed, 75 for Wayz. Houdini. Now that Houdini's inside the joint. I gave Houdini a 91. I scored them high on originality because they were the first group to really, really put music and musicianship into hip hop. Nobody before them did. And I also had to give them high scores for voice because I still to this day think Ecstasy had one of the greatest hip hop voices of all times. So I hit them with a 91. Wayz, where did you hit my boys Houdini?
Well, here's the generational gap again.
I've expected
75.
Damn. Hold up. 75 for Houdini? All right. Talk to me now.
They didn't score a 10 in any category for me. Yeah. The highest score I gave them was for versatility and creativity and articulation. Let me make sure I was right. I was just looking at the wrong motherfucking group. Actually, it was Voice was the highest score they got from me, which was a 9.
What did you give them for records? I'm curious.
6.
A 6 for records. This is a group that made classics like Friends, Big Mouth, Funky Beat, I'm a Hoe. Come on.
Only one I recognize is Friends.
You really? So you don't remember Big Mouth? A Big Mouth. Boom, boom.
No. Generational gap, like I said.
Oh my God. I'm gonna tell you, I would never. And then stage presence. For me, they got a 10 on. They got a 10 on records. They got a 10 on space. A 9 on stage presence. They could have got a 10 on stage presence. Quite frankly,
I gave them an 8 on stage.
I saw them live. Well, I've seen them live several times, but I saw them after their heyday, post heyday, and they were opening up for somebody. They didn't have any recent songs out, but they have so many hits from the past. The Freaks come out at night. When I tell you, it was like nothing but hits they were dropping. And when the next group came up, your hit is recent, but that's your only hit. You just got blew off the stage. They only had one hit. It was recent. Yeah, you got the new song, but they got 6 classics they just dropped on you. And yeah, that was that was a generation gap. And I am disappointed in the 75 for Houdini. That's, to me, that's virtually criminal. Trust me, anybody that knows old school hip hop is just as upset as I am. Houdini is icons. Big Ed, what did you give him?
Bro, I just want to tell you real quick, bro. Dad would be disappointed in you.
I'm okay with this.
I gave him I got him at an 89.
89. Far more respectable. But yeah, 75 for Houdini is that hurts my feelings.
Yeah,
that hurts my.
That
feelings.
was outrageous.
That hurts my fucking feelings. That's EPMD didn't hurt my feelings.
That's like when you failed the A+ kid just for getting the A+.
The Freaks come out at night. The Freaks come out. Okay, so back to the stories. I got 2 words. Who wants them? Who wants the words? Big Ed, I'm gonna put it on you because Wayz went last.
Okay.
Whoopi Goldberg. You know about the Whoopi Goldberg story?
She did not need to be suspended. And frankly, to me, she did not need to be reprimanded even, because in her apology, she stated, I have always considered race a color issue, not a religious issue or anything like that, not a culture issue. This is a color issue.
So let me recap that, because not everybody knows what actually happened. We just kind of know the surface. So Whoopi Goldberg basically made a statement saying that the Holocaust was not a race issue because Jews and Germans were both white.
Yep.
It was not a race issue. It was, it was a culture issue because you're right, it's a religion. And they are quick to tell you Jewish is a religion, even though it's kind of also an ethnicity. It's kind of weird in that way. But it is a religion. They'll tell you before anybody that it's a religion, not a race. But it's also somewhat an ethnicity or a culture, so to speak. But Wayz, what's your thoughts on that? Is she right? Is she wrong? What's your thoughts on her statement that a Holocaust was not a race issue because Jews and Germans are white?
I would like to first say, cancel culture. Bring the smoke because I'm ready for it. Judaism is not a fucking race. I've said this for a long time. It's not a race. It's a belief. I cannot get behind the idea that saying the Holocaust is a race issue when it was a bunch of white people getting put out there in those camps by white people. That to me does not make sense. And then I'm history buff. Historically, the original Jews looked like us, not like them. And for Whoopi to get reprimanded by this is, to me, bullshit. Primarily due to the fact that whether they like it or not, and it's not a popular, this is definitely not going to be a popular take on it. They got their fucking reparations. Where's ours? I don't want to hear shit about Jews. They got
You
their
know what?
shit. They got a
You
whole
know
fucking country.
You are so fucking right there. And not only did they got their reparations, we did not get ours. We went through slavery. Slavery was far more brutal than the Holocaust. Okay. And that, yes, cancel culture, come get me too with that one. And I say that because our shit went on for over 400 years.
And it's still actually going on right now.
Well, it's going on because we have not gotten reparations, and we are not whole. But you know, they got the money. They were given reparations, and they have a community of their own, and they support each other, and they are major players in Hollywood. That's really what happened to Whoopi Goldberg.
Yep.
Right? They are major players in Hollywood. Whoopi has now threatened to quit The View over it. Like, y'all wrong on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm she's pissed off and wants to quit. I don't know what's going to happen with Whoopi at this time, but she has a lot of Jewish friends that are standing up for her now, who are saying, hey, Whoopi is my friend. Whoopi has done a lot for the Jewish community. Whoopi is not an anti-Semite. She does not deserve this.
Mm-mm.
Right.
There's a lot of Jewish people stepping up right now on her behalf. And maybe that's what's giving her the guts to say, fuck y'all, I will quit. Right? I don't know.
Oh, no.
She's pissed off, and I ain't mad at her.
She said she would quit before.
Mm-hmm.
So and they usually acquiesce to Whoopi.
We're gonna see how this goes, because the Jews, when you talk about the Jews, it's a little different.
Yeah, that's
Ask Ice Cube. Ice Cube had the line. He said, you can sing like a jaybird, but nigga, don't say the J word.
Mm-hmm.
You can say nigga all you want. That line to me was as loaded as it gets, because he made sure to say nigga in it. But nigga, I'm calling you a nigga, but don't say the J word.
Yeah.
Right? Because he said Jews in the first, he was talking about Jerry Heller, and they came after him. The Jewish community came after him. He said, "Okay, yeah, you can sing like a jaybird, but nigga, don't say the J word."
Yeah. In Hollywood, when it comes down to it, they want you to do what Nick Cannon did: come crawling on your hands and knees and beg for forgiveness.
Basically, and I don't think Whoopi's going to. Moving on to the other coast, Hot 97 DJ Drewski in New York. He says that he is no longer playing gang music or diss tracks in his show. He is no longer doing it, he said, because too many people are dying over this and there's too much violence. So I am no longer going to play gang music. I'm not going to support the gang culture. No longer playing gang music, no longer playing diss tracks. I don't want people going after each other, and so I'm done with it. I'm not playing none of that shit. That is not going to make my playlist on air ever again, or in clubs, whatever. That's coming out of my rotation completely. Your thoughts on that, Wayz?
I got nothing but respect for him for it. One of the biggest, I don't know how to really put this, but to me, gangster rap has always been an issue to me, because it is putting forth this idea that, bringing it right back around to race, is giving white people their justification to believe we are violent people. And all they have to do now is say, listen to this song and tell me what you think. Am I right or am I wrong? I've never been a fan of. Let me back that up. I have been a fan of gangster rap, but I've never been the type to look at it or idolize it in such a way.
And I hear you. I have been a fan of gangster rap, and I still enjoy it. I do believe, at its core, this is spurring from what's coming out of Jacksonville, because there's more artists. I mean, Jacksonville is starting to blow up the hip hop scene, but it's gang violence, and they are killing each other, and they're talking about it and bragging about it. And it's taking over hip hop right now. And they're the hottest, some of the hottest groups in hip hop right now are the guys coming out of the gang culture in Jacksonville, Florida. I think that's what spurred it, but instead of isolating them, he just said all of it in general. I'm cutting it all out, not even diss tracks. Big Ed, what's your thoughts now that you're back?
I'm actually kind of feeling that vibe, because for a while that's what I thought has been, wrong with this the SoundCloud culture of music right now. Is a lot of it is diss tracks against the ops. Whew.
That was a long walk, bro. You good?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell just happened, man. I just got real short of breath.
Look,
the coronavirus. It's now I want to share a perspective from one of my mentors in this industry, and a guy that I have a lot of respect for, a close friend of mine, Billy T. Billy T had a completely different take. And he kind of made me alter my perspective, not completely, but I altered it. I didn't change it, but I did amend it based on him. He says he's not buying it. Whatever, motherfucker. Who are you? Who the fuck are you? You're just doing this for somebody to know your name so that they can go and go listen to your show. Good music is good music. Bad music is bad music. I don't give a fuck what they're talking about. I'm playing it. That's Billy T's take. My stance is I see where it's going. I see where it comes from. And I'm not sure. And I even told Billy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with what's happening in Jacksonville right now. But I think that's what spurred it. But the truth is, if that is what spurred it, if my theory is correct, then this is baseless. It's a publicity stunt to make people say, oh, respect. Oh, we love that. Cool. I'm going to listen to you now because you don't play that gang shit. And the truth is, these motherfuckers are getting paid off streams. They don't need you anyway. You really, so your claim is it's baseless. You know what I'm saying? You really don't matter to them. But again, that's if my theory is true, because they're getting paid off YouTube and all there's so many different ways to stream music, so many different revenue streams, and it took me back to when I remember when it first started, and I saw the interview with Busta Rhymes, who was all upset about this new streaming coming in and how it's fucking up the industry. But it wasn't fucking up the industry; it was changing the industry. You know, so you don't have to you don't have record stores anymore. You know, CD sales are not as big because you can there's so many different revenue streams now for you to get paid off of streaming music. That, you know, you got Spotify, you got Tidal, you got YouTube, you got SoundCloud, you got all these different ways to stream music, and it's all calculated, and they get paid off of it. So they don't need him.
Like shit. Big shout out to Snoop. I paid you like $5 last month. So I'm gonna need some new music out you.
You need some new, you gotta come up with something. All right, so I'm gonna move on to something that probably is a little more Wayz friendly.
Okay.
Fucking 75 for Houdini, man. You know what?
Oh, it doesn't get any better.
Wow.
Goody Mob. Goody Mob. A little more Wayz friendly. Fucking fucking 75, man. Goody Mob. I gave Goody Mob an 82.
That's fair.
I've seen them live once. They were fantastic. The fact that they're the lead rapper of Goody Mob turned out to be CeeLo, and CeeLo turned out to be a whole different guy. Well, Gnarls Barkley. I had to give them a 10 for versatility, and because of him. But when I saw them live too, that was the first time I noticed. I was like, "This motherfucker is bad," you know. See, the CeeLo was fantastic. They were original when they first came out. I didn't think it was so much innovative though, because nobody really followed the Goody Mob sound and started sounding like them. But so I knocked them a little bit down for that. I didn't really like a lot of their songs. Really, I can only think of 2 songs of theirs that I like. So I didn't give them that. For records, I knocked them down some too. Houdini should get more than a fucking 6. Anyway, they have, but anyway. Woo. I can't get over that. I'm sorry. I'm not letting that go. That's fucking. I'm feeling the hurt by that. But I gave them an 82. Wayz, what did you give Goody Mob?
76.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
The killer for me was records.
I
can't recall a full record that I've liked of theirs. I've liked a few songs, but not a full record.
2 songs. I gave them 2 songs that I liked and that really jumped out at me. But I'm that would be a category that could knock them down, in my opinion. We're Big Ed is in the middle. I'm an era before them, and you're an era after. So, Big Ed, what did you give Goody Mob?
I gave Goody Mob a 91.
Talk to me. What did we miss?
They got a 10 for voice.
I gave them a 10 for voice as well. I gave them a 9 for voice.
I gave them a 10 as well.
I gave them a 10 for voice. I gave them a 10 for originality and a 10 for creativity.
I gave them 9s in those categories, all 3 of those categories. I gave them a 10 in versatility though, because he can't sing, but I didn't think they're as far as.
Yeah, I got a 9 I got a 9 in versatility.
Yeah, so I'm the opposite of you in those 4 categories. I gave 9s in those other 3 and 10 at versatility, and you did the opposite, the exact opposite of what I did there. Yeah. And that's cool, and that kind of reflects, you know. I mean, we're not too far off, you know. We're not too far off,
and they're actually right neck and neck with somebody else on the list.
Okay, let's go with Outkast. I gave Outkast a 93. I didn't really have a weakness there. I mean, I vocabulary. I didn't give anybody a too high of a score on vocabulary. I think Wu-Tang got the high. Yeah, Wu-Tang got the highest vocabulary score, and that was a 9. I gave Outkast an 8. I didn't really give anybody high scores on vocabulary, but I didn't actually knock anybody for vocabulary. Nobody's lower than a 7. Nobody's higher than a 9. But other than that, they pretty much got all 9s and 10s for me, for the most part. What did you give them, Wayz?
98. Lowest score I gave them was a 9. That was in vocabulary and sticking to themes.
And I gave them 8s in both of those categories. Same 2 categories was the lowest for me, but I gave them 9s in some of the others. What about you, Big Ed? What you got?
Outcast at a 92.
All right, we all went pretty high with them. Me and Big Ed were very much in line there, 90, 93, 92. Wayz gave him a higher score than both of us. And
See, those last two groups, they're two of my favorite rap groups ever.
Okay.
And they call themselves the same family, the Dungeon family.
They are the same family. Yes, indeed.
Outkast is the reason why I gave Goody Mob a 7 on originality. Because Goody Mob sounded too much like they were doing Outkast music as a group.
When I heard "Who's That Peeping in My Window," I've never heard anything else like that before or since, and that's why I gave them a 9 for originality, because that was totally and completely unlike anything else. I couldn't even believe it worked.
Was the shit.
Yeah, it's hard to believe it even worked. It's so different. Even listening to it today, it's like, how was this a hit? It's so different. It's so nothing followed it. Nothing else like it. And before or after,
they don't dance no more. That was a pretty good one too.
Okay, all right, yeah, that was a decent song. So I didn't remember that one. So I guess that would make 3 songs. That one I liked a little bit. I didn't love it, but my favorite 2 songs by them was "Who's My Peeping in My Window" and I can't even think of the other.
Beautiful Skin.
No, I don't even remember. No, it was about Dirty South. What did niggas know about Dirty South?
Yep, that one.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it for Goody Mob. Anyway, we're two groups past the Goody Mob. Ken Jeong and Robin Thicke walked off the set on The Masked Singer, because when they unveiled The Masked Singer, it was Rudy Giuliani. And I've not watched the video of this, but I
haven't seen the video of it either.
I want to see it so bad.
None of us will see it for another month. That's when the episode airs.
Yep, the episode airs in March.
I thought somebody had video of it posted online.
I haven't seen video of it yet.
Yeah, but yeah, what's your thoughts on that one, Wayz?
I get it. You know, especially Ken Jeong, because Rudy Giuliani was right on board with Donald Trump and basically Asian shaming everyone, all Asians, when it came to the coronavirus. So as an Asian man, he had every fucking right to walk off. Robin Thicke, he's one of the fewer Caucasian singers I've seen that's invited to the cookout without doing anything black. You know what I mean? So I could see that. I was kind of surprised Nicole didn't walk off. But it is what it is. If they, as far as I'm concerned, they had every right to. They did the right thing. Walk off.
Big Ed, what's your thoughts?
You can't normalize their behavior.
Mm-mm.
Not Ken Jeong's and Robin Thicke's. You can't normalize Rudy Giuliani's behavior. Consequences have to be paid for the lies that were told. Be it societal consequences, monetary consequences, whatever. Consequences need to be paid for what you did.
So I hear the right. I don't like saying left and right because it makes them feel like there's right versus wrong. But the right, we know who we're talking about, right-wing Republicans, are saying there was grandstanding and it was embarrassing. What's your thoughts on that, Big Ed?
No, it's not embarrassing. You're standing up for your principles. You believe in democracy. You believe in the rule of law. You're going to protest against it.
So what about the women that said, oh, yeah, Robin Thicke has no right to stand up for shit after he put his hands on Paula Patton? What's your thoughts on that, Joe?
What's that got to do with the situation?
You've beaten women, motherfucker. How you gonna be self-righteous now?
Here's the thing. It's a situational. Now, if it were him walking off of someone who is a known abuser like that, then yeah, he's in the wrong. But this is something totally different. And to equate it to something absolutely different, which women love to do, it makes no sense.
So I guess the point is, well, should women have walked off when he showed up?
Absolutely.
Considering he's a batterer?
Absolutely. But they did it. So to bring that up, and those same women still watch the show and listen to his opinion. So for them to say anything like that makes no sense at all.
Okay. But for us to put this man on national TV and I see what you're saying with Robin Thicke.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say it. I'm going by comments that I've, because these as I've stated before, all these stories you can find them on the What Up Though Show Facebook group, and people comment, and so I kind of look at the comments and I take those comments and kind of share. I have my own opinions. This story, I don't really have one, so I'm just kind of going by the comments, but I do like to look at the different perspectives. Right. And that's why I don't censor my comments unless they're scamming or trying to post scams or spams. I don't do spams in my room. Other than that, I don't regulate comments because I like
discourse.
Yeah, I like other opinions. I like the other opinions. I like to know what other people think.
I would like to put out there, I don't agree anything with what Robin Thicke does, but at the same time, I'm not gonna. I'm something that I like to call a realist. I'm gonna say what's real, whether it's a popular opinion or not, because reality and truth, it overrides your opinion, and the reality and the truth about that matter is it has nothing to do with the situation at hand.
Well, on that note, I'm just gonna say, don't listen to Joe because he gave Houdini a 75.
God damn it.
I'm lost without you. Okay, so what are your thoughts on this one, Joe? This might be something that would interest you. Recent reports are showing that Facebook on a daily basis is losing money, and Zuckerberg is blaming TikTok.
Why would he blame him when he knows that's the reason? TikTok is creating an outlet for people to voice their opinion, number one. If you're going to TikTok and you're looking for political views, you could get them there. Whether they're yours or not, you can hear things from both sides of the aisle. If you are a pervert, there's plenty of thick-ass white chicks on TikTok that you can watch.
Black ones, too.
And black ones.
Just to be sure. Just to be clear, it ain't just thick white chicks.
Now,
there's even black girls on TikTok that don't like black men.
Yeah. But if you're someone like me and you like watching videos.
Those are not on my algorithm, by the way. Anyway.
Exactly. So if you're a person like me, though, you can go to TikTok and you can watch and share videos to your girlfriend of a woman explaining men to women, which I love because there's no way a man can explain it to them. But if they hear from a woman, they're more likely to listen. So in the end, when it comes to this, yes, Zuckerberg, it is TikTok's fault. But primarily, it is your fault because you were the reason as to why you're not getting that traffic anymore. You and this really totalitarian idea of what is and isn't okay to say at all is a problem. I can't say bitch on Facebook without getting a 30-day ban now. So now I have to go and put a bunch of asterisks and then an H after the B.
Yeah, you got to say bish, B-I-S-H. Right. You got to misspell it. Big Ed, what's your thoughts on that? Facebook losing money and Zuckerberg say it's because of TikTok.
What was it? $270 billion the other day. Mm-hmm. Just gone. Bye. I don't know. Maybe he should step his game up. Instead of charging people to be part of this metaverse that he's supposedly creating, people are already part of the metaverse in TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell I got to spend $450,000 to buy land in the metaverse next to Snoop?
Yeah, I don't even understand the metaverse. I'm not even trying to go there. However,
That's what's I believe that's actually what's pushing his money drop right there.
I think that's part of it, but I think Joe hit a large part of it too. I think he's right. It is TikTok. TikTok is more entertaining than Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Facebook because I do like the interaction of Facebook, but TikTok is more fun to watch, and there's not as Facebook is too much censorship. There's too many rules. There's too many standards. There's too much shit that's saying you can't do this on Facebook. You know, I can take a video from TikTok, post it to Facebook, and they block it, and I get some kind of warning, or they've muted and it's like, well, I can watch it on TikTok. Why can't we watch it here?
Exactly.
Right. So therefore, here's a small battle that TikTok won.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those small battles does it take for you to start losing customers?
Exactly. Right? Now, I would like
if I can do this there and not here, I'm over there.
Now,
it's very simple.
I would like to put this last little stinger on Zuckerberg because he needs to hear it, and everybody else is probably thinking it at this point after seeing these numbers. Mark Zuckerberg, welcome to the realm of MySpace.
Hey, this is just a question, though.
All right, go ahead.
How many people do you have to delete Facebook for you to lose $270 billion?
They're not really deleting it. They're just not there anymore. The traffic is not there. So, you know, if there's more traffic on TikTok, traffic is moving to TikTok, where you think the advertising dollars are going. He's not getting paid. That's where he gets the money from. That's what that is. So I have a question. No, I don't. A Tribe Called Quest. Going back to the list, a Tribe Called Quest. I gave a Tribe Called Quest a 92. It's my friend's favorite group. I got a friend who just loved that. There's nobody close to. They would probably have 100 on his list. I don't know. I guess I gave them a little bit of knock of sticking to the themes because I don't really, you know, that to me is a little muddy of a category. But for the most part, other than that, they got mostly 9s and 10s and, you know, a couple of 8s in there, but I gave them a 92. Wayz, what you give to a tribe?
I gave them an 88.
And talk to us.
Lowest score they got from me was an 8.
Okay.
Everything else has been 9s. I didn't give them a single.
The highest score they got was an 8. That's what I thought he was about to say. The lowest score they got for me was an 8, and the highest score they got for me was an 8.
The highest score they got from me was a 9. Everything's pretty much 8 and 9s. Actually,
so
I think everything is 8 and 9s.
No 10s for the tribe
I'm a liar.
Okay. I knew that when you gave Houdini a 75, but
I gave him a 10 in sticking to themes and innovating rhythms.
Okay, all right. And see, sticking to themes is where I gave them a little bit of a drop off. But other than that, I'm pretty much 9 to 10, and that's I probably rated them too low on the sticking to themes too.
I got them at a 91.
91 for Big Ed.
Voice, I gave him a 10.
Yes.
Vocabulary, I gave him a 10. Articulation, I gave him a 9. Because every once in a while, the rhymes could get a little bit muddled. Mm-hmm. Creativity, I gave him a 9. In innovating rhythms, I gave him a 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I gave him a 10 there. I also gave him a 10 for creativity because they were the first. They really took the jazz rap thing to another level. And I just thought that was dope. NWA, the niggas with attitudes. I gave NWA a 93. Wayz. Let me expand on that. They got mostly 10s, 9s, and 10s, but they got gave them a knock on versatility and vocabulary. I mean, other than that, they was all 9s and 10s. Wayz, what you got?
I think we should move on to Big Ed. I'll save mine for
No,
last.
nope. Because I'm doing it in the order in which I'm putting these in here.
All right, you
On
ready?
you.
Y'all ready
Yep.
for this shit?
Yeah. Yes.
73.
Okay.
I gave him a 73. Highest scores at 10 and sticking to themes for obvious reasons. Innovating rhythms, gave him a 9. But the lowest scores they got, biggest killer they had for me was stage presence because I've never seen them on stage. I can only imagine what they were like on stage, and I couldn't see them meshing very well on stage. I'm a liar. Versatility, 3. There's nothing in their music that showed me that they were able to do anything different than gangster rap in the same theme or same way of music.
See, and I gave them a knock on it, but not that low because Cube was it was gangster rap, but he told stories about the hood, not just about we say gangster rap, but it wasn't just talking about gangsters. It was more about life in the hood, life and let me let you know what it's like. This ain't all just movies and lights and cameras action. It's fucking weird. It's hood out here in LA.
See, for me, I couldn't base it because I thought about that. Don't get me wrong, I took that into strong consideration. But Cube isn't the entire group for me.
But he's there. But he did most of the writing on that first project.
He did.
He wrote all of it.
He did. But
everything except MC Ren. Everybody except MC Ren was written by Cube.
And I can see that, but at the same time, when it came to my scoring, I scored them as a group as a whole. It didn't individualize anyone.
I think you underestimate I think you took gangster rap in a nutshell and didn't really go into. I think you didn't really go into how did they describe gangster rap, because they created gangster rap for one.
Yeah. I saw 4 versions of gangster rap come out of NWA.
Yeah, and not only that, see, before that, the first album that gets credit for being a gangster rap album was actually BDP. But the difference between NWA and BDP is they described how to be a gangster. They described how we live, how we dress, what kind of guns we use, how we don't like the police. And here's life in the hood as well. Mm-hmm. So I think to take all of that out of it,
I didn't take it out.
I think you had to, because you just put gangster rap in a nutshell and said then they're only talking about is gangster rap, but that's not true. And I think that's where they took a hit.
I guess we're kind of scoring this differently because I put all that stuff in originality, which I gave them a 10 on.
Okay.
And then when it came to sticking to themes, they got a 10 for obvious reasons. But the versatility is I didn't see anything different about their music from any of their other music. It may have been performed or presented differently, but it wasn't different.
And then you got Dr. Dre producing it. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
that's
I ain't gonna lie. Versatility was the lowest score they got from me too.
It was the lowest score they got from me, but it wasn't a 3.
Oh no, it wasn't a 3. It wasn't a 3. I got NWA at an 87.
87.
I gave them 9 for their vocabulary, 9 for articulation, because you could hear everything they said clear as fuck.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Creativity at the time, I gave them a 9. The only thing they got a 10 in was innovating rhythms.
because
Dre on them beats, man.
yeah, I agree with. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think as a group they were okay. I mean that is what it is. We're gonna keep on going. I did 2 there, so let's do some more stories. I got 2 words. Joe, Big Ed got the last 2. You're gonna get these 2. Washington Commanders.
I wasn't expecting it. And I definitely wasn't expecting the logo just be a different font of a W. Like, I was expecting a little something more unique. They're like, nah, man, let's go from Times New Roman to fucking Gothic print. Like, what the fuck was that? I will say though, those jerseys, those uniforms look fire as hell. I ain't going to front. I kind of want to buy one of those black versions of variations of their jersey. Name. The only reason I don't like the name is because they couldn't come up with something unique for the logo to go with the name. It kind of bugged me. I like the name.
What do you think about the Washington Commanders and all in general? Just
first off, the Washington Admirals would have been a better name
Mm-hmm.
because now we have the Washington Commies. So, you know, I don't know. Now we got the Washington Commies. So now we got a communist football team.
It's the Commanders. It's not a commie. It's not the Washington Communists. It's the Commanders.
Well, I know that, but hey, nicknames and branding is a motherfucker.
Well, I will say this. I liked the football team.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that grew on me was because I thought the Washington football team's uniforms were absolutely phenomenal. Where their helmets was the no logo on the side, it was their jersey numbers on the side of the helmets. I thought that shit was fire. I was like, that shit is so nostalgic, and I just loved it. I thought that was cool, and I thought they were just gonna keep that rolling. But they went to the W, and I loved it. I thought the jersey numbers on the helmet was just a cool touch that made me say, you know what? That's what made me say, I like the football team. I think the Commanders is a whack name.
Yeah.
Big Ed, I'm gonna let you speak first.
Okay.
I got 2 words, and these are gonna be fun. Matter of fact, let me see if you can guess them. Hold on.
If it's strip club, I got a lot to say.
Now, see, I told Joe last week, and I'm sure I said it on the showdown. The reason why Jim Harbaugh didn't get hired in Chicago was because he wanted a John Gruden contract.
He didn't even have an interview.
No, yeah, he did. But I'm hearing the reason why he didn't get the job in Minnesota is because he wanted the John Gruden contract.
Bro,
I didn't hear. That's not the word here. That's not it.
You got the wrong sources. You got to listen to his exact words. Yeah, he had something different to say because he put some thought into it.
Gonna let Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, he put some thought into it. Called Michigan, and it was like a feeler for him. He was like, all right, you know what? Let me get my feelers in. I guess he just didn't dig the vibe. Whatever. He didn't dig the idea of going into the NFL. So he decided, you know what? I'm going to go back to Michigan. I'm going to make this a indefinite thing with Michigan. By his own words, it was more of a choice of his own feeling, not based off of a contract. None of that. That's all rumor. That's hearsay. And it's really not true.
Okay.
I would say this: I heard nothing about him wanting the John Gruden contract. That I didn't hear it in either situation. That's not what the word has been here. Yes, there was a lot of talk. I think his bug to go to the NFL was spurred more by the interest from the NFL. I also personally had a theory that I thought he was trying to get out while he was ahead. But he got to Minnesota, and I think because he's friends with the GM there, right?
Yeah.
So he has a relationship there. So he had the conversation, and it was expected that he would go. However, see what hasn't come up in this conversation, in our conversation, that's a big piece of this puzzle, is that last year he took an enormous pay cut.
Yep.
Stay at Michigan. And then had a successful season to follow. So now the question is, well, Michigan, is it time to pony up? Right? Is it time to pony up? Because I took this pay cut and I didn't complain about it. I just came out and I put together and I coached my ass off, and we won the Big Ten, right?
Yep.
So what happened was he made a phone call after the Minnesota interview. He made a phone call to the AD at Michigan, because there was a lot of rumblings coming out of Michigan too. Whatever happens. We're looking for our next guy. They were playing the we don't give a fuck card as well. That he made a phone call to the AD and said, y'all want me back in Michigan or not? Because his heart is still in Michigan. My heart is still in Michigan. He still wants to go to play. He wanted to stay with Michigan. He didn't want to necessarily go. He said, and the guy said, of course we do. He said, well, here's the deal. Yes, I had a little bit of a bug to go back to the NFL, but it'll never happen again. This is not going to be an every year thing. Exactly. He didn't say it'll never happen again. He said, this is not going to be an every year thing where all of a sudden I want to jump to the NFL. I got a little bit of the bug, but if you guys want me back, then I'm coming back because I want to come back. And he came back to Michigan. Exactly. Whether that's actually the truth, I don't know, but that's his story, and he's sticking to it.
I'll go by his word over it then. Any rumor or anything.
I do believe Minnesota. I don't believe Minnesota said no. I don't know if they said no or not. No. But then all of this shit was going on too. See, because I believed all of this shit had a little bit to do with it too.
And that's how I feel too.
This whole case, this whole scandal, I think he was like, you know what? Fuck this. I would go back to well, I'm stepping into the NFL the wrong fucking time as a coach.
You look at all the headlines in Minnesota, they were all saying Jim Harbaugh expected to sign by Wednesday evening. That's
here
all
too.
You saw.
Here too. Same thing. Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
So Minnesota didn't turn him down. He turned us down. And it wasn't because of a contract. It was because, like how OG said, his heart's over in Michigan.
I think that's part of it too, and I do believe this scandal has a little bit to do with it as well. You know, this is not a good time for I think he was like, it's not a good time for me to take this job. Every white coach that gets hired right now is going to be under the fucking microscope.
While we were on the subject of coaching, I would like to say we're soon to be hiring in the next few weeks here. Something a little better than Chicago Bears and their third string head coach. With the LA Rams offensive coordinator as ours.
I did see that. See that.
And I don't know. Eberflus has had top 5 defense the last 4 years in a row. So
okay, but the offense is the issue.
Okay.
Let them fight this out.
And as our offensive coordinator, we just got a guy that Aaron Rodgers begged for Green Bay to keep.
Okay, so here comes the group that I gave the highest score to And I was surprised that they got the highest score because I did not. This was not by design. It was by happenstance. And I actually revisited all of these, and their score actually went down, and they still had the highest score. With a 94, it was the highest score that I have on there. Public Enemy. I gave Public Enemy a 94. And that's the highest score I had. I actually had them higher than that before I revisited my list. Redid my list. They're not the only one that went down, but they're one that went down, but they still are the highest score I gave. Versatility, I think, is the only one that I knocked down a little bit. Other than that, they are all 9s and 10s for the most part, except vocabulary. Like I said, I gave them an 8 there, and everything else is 9s and 10s. More 10s than 9s.
Okay.
I think they got all 10s but one. I think they have 1 9, and that's stage presence. Everything else is 10s.
Okay.
Joe, what you got for Public Enemy?
I'm just gonna hurry up and state I'm not going into detail on any of my scores on this. I'm just gonna tell you the overall. 76. I'm done. I have no reason.
You know what? You know what? You were right. We don't want to hear it. Okay. You were right. You were right. We don't want to hear it. Big Ed, Public Enemy.
They got my highest score tonight also. All right, they're the 93.
Thank you. And last but not least, the Brand Nubians, ironically, the group that's got my lowest score, they got a 75. They got no 10s. They got a couple of 9s in originality and articulation. The lowest score I gave anybody in any category, gave them a 5 in stage presence, largely because I've never seen them. And they were mostly 7s. They're mostly 7s and 8s. Joe, to give Brand Nubians.
Like I stated before, yeah.
Never even heard of them.
Never heard of them, so I gave them a fair shake. I can't judge something I've never heard. So I gave them straight in the middle. I gave them a 5. So they got 50 as my final overall score from, simply due to I gave them the fair shake and not give them a bunch of zeros because I've never heard of them. I can't judge anything I haven't heard, so I'll give you the midline just to be fair.
Big Ed.
I got 75.
Yes. Yeah, I think considering we both gave him 75, I think that's probably a lot more accurate than that 50.
I had nothing to judge off of, so I just gave him a fair shake.
All right. Yeah, Joe needs to go to old school. He needs to go to old school. Because I tell you, I am very, very offended by Public Enemy getting a 76 and Houdini getting a 75 and NWA getting a 73. But other than that,
wow,
those offend me. That offends me. That offends me totally and completely. So anyway, that said, and I'm sure I'm not alone out there. Last story of the day, man. I don't like ending with bad stories, and gladly.
Can we take a quick break real quick?
Oh, we almost done. We'll be done. We'll be done. I got one story. Hold it, man. Just hold it.
I'm trying. I'm getting slow for this shit.
4 people were charged in the death of Michael K. Williams, the overdose death of Michael K.
Oh, man.
4 people have been charged. I don't know if you saw the story or not. Big Ed, you had any thoughts?
I'm glad somebody's being charged.
Yeah.
Because these dope dealers out there nowadays need to realize they're killing people with the shit that they're putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly. I agree. Joe, real quick, any thoughts?
Nothing different. It's just, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw this, I thought about the show he had going on with Vice, where he's pretty much interviewing these drug dealers and this and that. I was like, I wonder if that had anything to do with it. And if he just got in contact with the wrong sources. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I don't know what to say about that one.
Well, I'm going to say that I want to discontinue this segment of doing these scorings because me and Big Ed gives fair scores, and when it's in our era, and when it's not our eras, we still give fair scores, and when it's not Joe's era, he gives unfair scores. So it turns out that the group he scored highest for came out with the overall highest score as you average to 3, because the ones that he gave unfair scores to got unfairly knocked down. I mean, you got a 91, 89, and then a 75. So they knocked. Run DMC ended up with an average of 90.7. Wu-Tang gets an average of 88.3. EPMD gets an average. It gets a 77.3. Houdini is knocked all the way down to an 85 after getting an 89 and a 91. Goody Mob is an 83, thanks to that 76 that he got from Joe. But he gave Outkast a big 98, so they gets 94.3 because we both win 93, 92, and I don't think they're that far superior to the other groups, the aforementioned groups. But Tribe Called Quest got a 90.3. NWA got an 84.3. Public Enemy got an 87.7. And Brand Nubians got a 66.7. So I think this is very skewed. I am going to redo this with just us and see what happens. If I take Joe's scores out, what do I get? Now the highest score, if I take Joe's out, the highest score is a 93.5 for Public Enemy. And then Houdini ends up with a 90. What was the other one he beat up? Goody Mob he beat up. They come up with an 86.5. See, these numbers seem more representative of those groups to me. And that seems more of a fair representation. The Houdini shouldn't be as low as they were. But anyway, that's what it was. Damn, I wiped them out. Let me undo that. Let me put the scores back. All right. So that's how they scored out. So the top score came out to be, I expected this to be a lot more fair, but it wasn't. The top score came out to be Outkast with 94.3. I expected them to be up there, and the lowest score, as expected, was Brand Nubians at a 66.7. So that's it for the What Up Though show, man. I want to thank you guys for joining us, man. We'll do this again next week. Yes, I did it today with no breaks, and we will do it again with no breaks. I'm going to find a different category next week, something that maybe Joe knows something about, so he doesn't, give us these crazy scores. We want to thank y'all. Hope you had fun, man. We had fun doing it, and I hope you had fun listening. We'll catch you next time on the What Up Though show. From my boys Big Ed and Wayz, I'm your boy OG Tim Wilson. Thank you for joining us. Peace. Party up in here. Yeah, party up in here. Bring your hands up. Just need to